Okay, hello everyone. This is Hirono Iwasaki, and as one of facilitators of the Japanese group of AsianPLoP 2020, I'm very happy to summarize all discussions and patterns and some other things taken in the Japanese group of AsianPLoP 2020 this year. Okay, so we together with Nobukazu Yoshioka-san, we successfully facilitated the Japanese group, and it had 4 papers. So on September 3rd, we workshopped first paper titled Suggestion of Pattern Language for Work in Pool Reverse. In Japanese, 誰もが生き生きと働ける社会を導くパターンランゲージ、パタパタの提案。So this pattern language was authored by Keiji Endo-san. Okay, so this pattern language is about how we support people who have disability to get some job and also do some job in constructive and also in appropriate way and in good atmosphere. And indeed nowadays there are many people who have disabilities working together with people who have or who don't have disabilities, and so especially they could have some challenge. They may face challenges such as how they get some jobs, and also how they worked well with other people, and especially they may have some issues or difficulties in some smooth communications and conversations, for example. So so Keiji Endo-san successfully documented many good practices in the form of pattern language, and so we really all participants really enjoyed that pattern language, and we indicated what was good, and also we somewhat suggested further possible improvement. Okay, then next day on September 4th, we workshopped second, third, and fourth paper. Okay, so second paper was titled Pattern Language for Consultation of Heritage Inheritance for Individuals and Their Family. In Japanese, 遺産相続の相談のためのパターンランゲージ。So this pattern language was written by Ayano Hosotani-san, Chieko Horinoue-san, and Yasuo Hosotani-san. So this pattern language is about heritage inheritance. And indeed, such heritage inheritance is about everyone, right? Because everyone will finally die, and at that time or in advance, we have to consider how we conduct heritage inheritance. And however, often we don't care, or we may want to, we may try to avoid, proactive discussion and in terms of heritage inheritance, because that is purely related to death of people. However, so that's why often heritage inheritance triggers very critical issues and concerns, especially at the time of a sudden, sick and also death and so on. So that's why Hosotani-san and some other members successfully documented how we prepare and how we smoothly conduct heritage inheritance together with experts in that area. Okay, so that pattern language is about consultation, targeting with experts in that area. So all participants, like those that patterns, that pattern language and patterns. Okay. Then third pattern it's titled Patterns for Human Resource Developing Technical Training. And those patterns were written by Ayana Chandra-san, Kotaro Ogino-san, and Yasuo Hosotani-san. Okay, so these patterns almost constitute a pattern language, almost. And so and these patterns were mostly about how companies or how entities develop and operate human resource training courses in agile way. And in this, many patterns successfully incorporated good practices and philosophies taken from Scrum and Agile methods. And so all participants write in those patterns. At last but not least, fourth paper was titled XDDP Patterns, a pattern language for extreme derivative development process, authored by Noriko Kawaguchi-san. Okay, so extreme derivative development process, or in short, XDDP, is quite a well accepted method, especially in Japan, for re-examining and modifying and maintaining and evolving existing software systems. So yes, these patterns are mostly about software maintenance as well as software evolution. Okay, and so yeah, there were several patterns documented in that paper. So all participants liked them, but at the same time, in that paper, there was a really nice illustration of roadmap of adoption of those patterns in the form of train route map. Can you imagine some, typical train route maps, such as, for example, okay, here's a red line, and here's another, okay, green line across there, and something like that. So they successfully adopted the concept of train route map as a metaphor of adoption of software patterns. And indeed, route map basically shows, how we, for example, get there from here, for example, and there are many, different paths, for example, here and there. And so, yeah, so that's a really good metaphor about how we adopt, patterns in our activities or in some entity, right? There must be various different paths, okay, such as this way or that way, and also from here to there, but sometimes from different place to another place, okay? So the metaphor of train route map worked really well as a metaphor of how we adopt successfully patterns into activities and also entities. So we participants like that idea. Okay, so as I said, we really successfully workshopped all 4 patterns written in Japanese, and at the end of the session, we conducted a small retrospective of that Japanese group. And well, indeed, we confirmed that virtual writers workshop really worked well. Okay, so it was quite easy to focus on reviewing patterns, pattern languages, and also giving comments, suggestions purely online. And also, that's a really nice finding. That is, it was quite easy to be fly on the wall by switching cameras off. Right? You see that at this time, camera of my laptop is on. However, if I switch off this camera, but still I can, clearly, understand all discussions. Although I clearly become, be invisible from other participants. Okay, so rather than physical writers workshop, virtual writers workshop is really good in terms of fly implementation of fly on the wall. So that's a really nice, finding, okay, in the Japanese group. And we believe that the same is true for all other groups. Okay. And also, it was slightly easy to share documents and indicate locations discussed. For example, okay, so here currently we are discussing this part, and then we move on to this part, and by sharing someone's, especially facilitators or leaders, screen. Okay. Uh, and finally, yes, we all participants said that we really enjoyed virtual workshops, as well as entire conference, including talks and introduction and so on. So we need to keep them, okay? And of course, there are some small, rooms for possible improvement, especially about online documentation and collaboration tools to be used. Okay, so it maybe it would be better to employ some online tools such as Google Docs for live collaborative commenting during virtual writers workshops. And also, this year we somewhat missed some other, typical features of physical prop conferences, such as game, ice break, coffee break, and chatting, in conversation, in casual conversation, and also banquet, reception, and so on and so on. So, so we may consider to implement those additional features in the future virtual AsianPLoP conferences. But in conclusion, can you see these photos in this slide? Yes, we see that it's very clear that every participant loved virtual workshop and this virtual AsianPLoP. So everyone was smiling, and yes, we enjoyed that. Okay, so I believe that it is because that the essential core value of AsianPLoP as well as writers workshop became very clear in virtual implementation. And indeed, virtual does not mean fake or something different. Rather than that, virtual can mean that core, essential, and almost something. Okay, so we believe that I believe that by implementing virtual writers workshop and also virtual AsianPLoP, essential core value of conference and writers workshop became clear, and we successfully identify them and enhance them. So as general co-chair of this conference, I believe that also participants of other groups also enjoyed this conference. And in the future, we wish to continue this conference and the writers workshop in virtual way as well as in possibly physical way, or maybe in some hybrid way, and to keep the core value and extend it, enhance it, and also maybe implement some more. Okay, so that's it. Once again, my big thanks go to all participants and all organizers and all authors, and we hope to see you next time very soon. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.